Hello, here's the preview video for Sunday, September 22nd for the elementary small groups. We've been talking about Joseph from Genesis, and this week we're talking about how Joseph gets out of jail by interpreting Pharaoh's dreams. When the pressure is on, you can trust God is with you. First activity here has kind of the main activity, and then there's an alternate activity. If your group has mostly younger kids, I'll let you use discretion on which version would be best for your group, but the more fun one and the more in-depth one here at the top goes like this. You have three different roles here: the court scribe, the royal jeweler, the drink taster. So you have three kids in your group who are going to play these roles. Now on the back side of their lanyard is kind of a script. My friend Joseph was in the palace at last. He looks so much better than when I saw him a couple years ago. So I've highlighted certain points that the people or the kids who are in these roles can really focus on, because the other kids in your group are going to be kind of the investigative reporters, and they're going to get a worksheet, and then you might assign 2 or 3 kids to go interview the drink taster. You assign another 2 or 3 kids to go interview the royal jeweler, and so on. So the kids who have this sheet and are the investigative reporters, they go and they can write drink taster or whatever at the top, and they ask these questions and try to have an interaction, a conversation, an interview with the kids in these roles to kind of fill in as many things as they can. If they don't have an answer for something on their sheet based on the person that they're interviewing, that's okay. After you allow a few minutes for the interviews to take place, bring everyone back together and kind of compare notes and see if the kids who interviewed the drink taster can fill in a couple of their answers by talking with the kids who interviewed the court scribe or whatever. So I think it'll be a really good kind of role-playing type activity to review the story. I think the kids will have some fun with it, encourage the kids to really kind of take ownership of these different parts here and then in the investigative part of that. If you feel like that's too much for your group, we have a different activity that's kind of the same thing in terms of that interview style, but the other side of it is that you, the group leader, are Joseph, and you have your cheat sheet here with the different questions and then your responses here. But the other kids in your group are going to take turns pulling out a question card, and then they can just ask a very simple question. So they might ask you, the group leader, once again, you are playing the role of Joseph. They might say, "Where were you when Pharaoh had his upsetting dreams?" And you can use the cheat sheet and say, "I was in jail, even though I had already helped the drink taster know the meaning of his dreams 2 years earlier." So you go through doing the questions, and as you are being asked the questions and providing the answers, the kids in your group will also have some scrap papers and markers, and they can kind of draw out the story as you are answering the questions that the kids are asking you. So hopefully that makes sense. Once again, I think it'll be a fun type of role-playing thing, but the responsibility on the kids in this version is much more simple. Next activity here is pressure's on. I'm going to come back to this, and you'll see why in just a second. I want to skip ahead to this activity. It's a made to reflect type activity, Play-Doh, pressure, prayer. So you're going to have some Play-Doh here. You need to get it out, give it to a kid in your group, have them kind of squish it around in their hands, squeeze it, and as that child is squeezing it, you say, "Johnny, when the pressure is on," and then cue the rest of your group to finish the sentence. "You can trust God is with you." And then Johnny passes the Play-Doh to the next kid, and you say, "Sally, when the pressure is on," once again, everyone else in the group responds, "You can trust God is with you." So go through and repeat that so everyone in the group has a chance to squeeze the Play-Doh, kind of work it around in their hands, and have this little blessing prayed over them, that reminder. And then when you go through all of it, go ahead and say it for yourself. You take the Play-Doh, even for me, and then you say your name. I have to remember that when the pressure is on, and then the kids say, "You can trust God is with you." Go ahead and wrap up in prayer, and I think that'll be a great way to close out the activities. Now, going back to the pressure's on activity, I'm going to try to set my phone down onto a little stand here so that you can kind of see the activity. I'm going to need both hands for this. You will have some diet soda, and you'll have a balloon. The balloon has some salt inside of it. So what you need to do is you want to keep your soda, the lid on so that the carbonation stays in there as much as possible until it's time to do the activity. But when you do it, go ahead and take the cap off. And then I want you to very quickly stretch the mouth of the balloon over the mouth of the soda. Try to get that band to go under the biggest lip of the soda. Tell your kids, what do you observe? Not much. Not much is happening. However, when you pick the balloon up and dump the salt into it, let's see what happens. So there you go. You're going to need to keep your hand around the balloon just in case there's a little bit of a spill, but I think we'll be good. The balloon's not getting too big. But once again, you can see we need to keep that balloon around the mouth of the soda so that it kind of maintains the seal there. And you can still see there's a lot of foam, a lot of fizz that's kind of going up into the balloon and out. The balloon certainly has a lot of pressure. It's a fun little science experiment for the kids. And then the discussion point on your sheet says, it's just pointing out the pressure there. But if you've ever had to make a really big catch in a game or give a speech in front of your class or stand up to a bully, then you know what it feels like when the pressure is on. But when the pressure is on, you can trust God is with you. There will also be some scenario cards with this activity. So after this illustration here, if you have time, divide your kids into 3 groups, give each group a scenario card and explain that they'll need to come up with a quick charade or solution to the given scenario on their card. So you can kind of do the illustration and then do the scenario cards and have the discussion point there about the pressure that we face in our lives. So lots of fun activities here. I think they're all fairly simple, but hey, have fun with your kids breaking this idea down about trusting God when the pressure is on. Thanks.